Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'm going to start my paper pumpkin alternatives. And what I'm doing this time is I put up the last paper pumpkin alternatives video and I had both a comment there and a comment someplace else that people wanted to see more of the putting together rather just showing you what the end result was. So I'm going to try this, and I'm going to do a series of several of these videos so that over time you get all of my paper pumpkin alternatives. And actually doing it this way, perhaps I can do a few more. So I want to show you a little bit of what I have done. This is the first one I'm going to put together, and doing it this way I'm a little bit ahead on some of the things that I wanted to do for this one. So let me tell you what I did. This was one of the, I think this was the floral one. What I did was I took this envelope and I pulled it apart. I cut this part off. I cut the edges. And it didn't work to try and just deconstruct this one, I'll say. As I went to go pull this apart, all it did was it frayed and it ripped, so I stopped doing that. I put it on my trimmer and I just took, you know, barely a 1/16 of an inch off here, just a little tiny bit on either side and across the bottom. And then this interior of this envelope gives you two sides then that have this pretty pattern on it. And so what I did was I cut a panel of this pattern, put it down here, and then I used one of these sticker strips to hold that in place. And that's as far as I've gotten on this one. Now, on this same front, card front, what I did was I just took a pencil and I drew a kind of a swoop here, and I cut it apart. And so I'm going to use this part for one card, and for this card I'm going to show today I'm using this part. And what I did was I went along the edges of this to distress this edge of the card to give this a more shabby chic kind of look. Then I'm going to take I'm using my larger ink pad here, and what I did was I used a sponge, put it in my early espresso, and I want to just go along this frayed edge that I have here on this piece. And I think I will continue that because I really don't want any of the white showing on this. And the other thing that I did to this piece, and let me grab a little piece of scratch paper and I'll show you what I did, was I used the dark pink of my markers, my alcohol markers, and I went over this rose on this piece of paper to darken it up and make the color a little bit more vibrant. And that piece I'm going to place right down here on the card. Let me tell you about some of the other things that I did. I also, using in the stamp set, let me grab the stamp set here, this little flower stamp here, and I did on vanilla paper, I made a whole bunch more of these flowers, and I fussy cut most of them out here. I have, I think, one more to go. And I also, on the back side of one of these pieces, did using, I think I used fresh fig, I'm not positive, either that or early espresso. And I cut out a few brown flowers because I figured it matched the flowers in this thing. And so that's one thing I did. And the other I did was use this leaf stamp here. And I also used my early espresso and stamped out several small leaf pieces here off of a piece of scrap of the lemon lime twist that I had. So I made quite a few more leaves and quite a few more flowers because I think as I go through this whole process, I'll be using them all. So I got so far as to do some of the coloring on this, but I wanted to just show what I was doing is just going over the pink here on these flowers and on this one as well, and just darkening up and making that color a little bit more vibrant. Then I used my dark Daffodil Delight, and I did the same thing to the centers here and to the yellow flower to again give it a little bit more pop, if you will. So now what I'm going to do is just use my tape runner, and I am going to lay this piece down on my card. And I want this tucked way over on the edge, and it leaves a small margin on the edge and a small margin at the top and bottom. Oh, it looks like I didn't get any glue on this top part, so let me do that. There we go. So there I have my rose piece down. Then I took this piece and I cut it in, well, not exactly in half, but here's the other half of this. What I did was I cut out the yellow flower and made this a smaller panel, and I will use this with a couple of my other flowers that I've cut out to make something else with this. But I took this piece and I thought this piece would be good right in the center here and kind of up towards the top. And then I'm planning to put a sentiment on this after I soften that down a little bit with the early espresso. And then I'm planning to put a bow on this. So the very first thing I'm going to do then is I've already put some dimensionals on this piece, is get this piece placed on my card. And then I'm going to lay this right in here. Now, what I've also done is I colored in this bud with the pink, just like I did with the other pieces. And maybe I was too quick to put that piece down. But I wanted to tuck this in here so that it masked a little bit that this piece was cut. And so on this one, my plan was to lay it flat on the card base itself here. And there we go. And then I have one of these other smaller flowers or sprays of leaves that I made to go with this, and I'm going to tuck that in as well, right in here. Then I'm going to use my sponge around this tag. And here we have this pretty tag to go right over here. And on this one, I thought I would use May Good Things Grow All Year Long. So this is the one I wanted to use my happy birthday with. So I thought this would make a lovely birthday card. And so I'm going to center my happy birthday. I'm going to use grid paper to help me get this straight. And set my happy birthday on my tag. And then I thought I would put it up on a couple of dimensionals. Right in here. And then part of the kit are these pretty pearls in pink and in kind of the purple color, which I think is the fresh fig. So what I thought I would do is take a couple of these purple ones, and I'm going to use the larger of them, and put them just right down here on the card. There's so much going on this card that it doesn't need a whole heck of a lot, but I thought I couldn't pass up using this beautiful ribbon either. And so I'm going to make a small bow and put it down here in the corner. And yes, I did iron my ribbon and put it on a piece of cardboard, just so that the wrinkle part of that just didn't appeal to me. And I think there's something nice about the balance of having the purple, and then the purple here, along with all of the rest of the elements of this card. And so there is almost my first alternative. I've got one more little thing I want to do here. And then this says happy birthday on the front, and then this one says may good things grow all year long. And I thought that was so pretty that I would take the time to do a couple more elements from this kit in this. And one is this pretty little corner design, and I'm going to stamp that in the early espresso here. I probably need my Pierce mat. Okay, so there we go. And then I thought I would add this sentiment, may good things grow all year long, and do that right here in the top. Since it's got the reference to seeds on the front, I thought that was appropriate to have on the inside. Now, that did not stamp well. Take my early espresso marker and fix that, which is what I will do. I'll work on this a little bit more off screen, but you can do a better job than I did. Sometimes when a stamp has never been used before, it doesn't stamp perfectly the first time. And so it's a really good idea to stamp that first separately before adding it to your card. And I think I'll be able to fix this so that it will, in the end, look just fine. And there's the start to that, and I'll go back and work on it some more. But there we go. That is the first alternative card. And one of the things that I will say is that this kit is absolutely gorgeous just to make up the way it is. But I like full-size cards, and I know a lot of my customers and people on my team like full-size cards. And these, while they're absolutely lovely, you're going to have to put them in another envelope if you're going to mail them. And this way, I'd rather use up a little bit of card inventory to make card bases and then use my regular envelopes to get these sent. But I think that is just a very pretty card. And I'm very pleased with it. So that's card number 1 for today. Now, card number 2 that I'm making today, and I'll bring out, I'm using a pink base again, and I am using this yellow, which is a Saffron piece, and I started to go around, and I'm going to finish that here. I took some of my early espresso and flicked all the way around the edges of this card, and in fact I then wiped a bit over the corners and sort of down the sides, so that I got a little bit more of a, let's see if of an aged kind of look to this. And there you can see I'm getting a little bit of color. And this is one where you go slow so you don't get too much or you don't get lines that you don't want. But if you go slow, you can eventually get the kind of level of color that you'd like to have. And I would say go with as dry a sponge as possible so that you don't get too much in places you don't want. Okay, so this piece is going to go on the front of this card. And this one, before I do that, I'm going to put my other elements on it because I want to use some of this twine on this one by the time we're done. So on these flowers, I didn't add any additional color, but I did add one of my little brown flowers that I made and my cream flower. And what I thought I would do is arrange these flowers here on my card with a couple of the leaves, and this one that's got the pretty bud on it, and then one down here like this. And so I'm going to dry fit this so I can see exactly how I want this together. And then this is one of the leaves that I made using lemon lime twist and the leaf stamp. And so that's got an awful lot of leaves on that side. Maybe I'll put this one on this side. Yep, I like the balance of that. And then I thought I would take this one, and there's a stamp in this stamp set that says, "What a beautiful friendship we've grown." And it seemed to me that that one fit on this particular banner pretty well. And I'm going to stamp that on there in early espresso. So let me bring back my Pierce mat, see if I can do a better job than I did on the first card. So with this one, I'm going to stamp it first, and it comes out great. So hopefully I'll be able to get that on here without any difficulty. There we go. Nice crisp image. Okay, and I have 3 pieces of twine cut here. One that's a little bit longer, and I thought this one, and what I want to do with these pieces of twine is I want to color them. So I'm going to color these pieces of twine with my early espresso sponge that I was using on the outside of the card. And I'm just going to draw that twine along a couple of times underneath my sponge until I get enough ink on it that I'm happy with it. There. Okay, so my thought was to put this string behind this sentiment and pull it across and have it come through the back side of this side of the sentiment. And there we have our darker twine showing through there. And then I would put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this to hold this down and anchor my twine. And then I'm going to take this other string and put it through, one on each side. Now what I have to do is assemble my card front here. And if I put this in place right down here, then this whole assembly should move as far up on the card as we can get it. So my thought was to put the leaves in place flat and then use dimensionals on the flowers. And what I wanted to do was set the yellow flower off because it matches the color of the background. So I wanted it to catch on this side the other colors and down here the green, so it doesn't blend in too much. Then I've got this little leaf here, and I was going to stick that right in here, and it looks like that still works. So I'm just going to add a little bit of a snail and tuck that one as far in as I can get it. So there we have that pretty card front. Now then, these pieces, let me get my dimensional backs removed and see if I can make this plan work. The first one I want to put across is the one that's captured on the dimensionals. So that one will go into place first on the back side of the card, and then these other two strings will be pulled, one a bit up and one a bit further down. Oops, that didn't stay anchored. Let me try that again. There we go. And then I thought it would be kind of fun to have them like they were drawn evenly apart, so that I got make sure that's stuck down. So it looks like there's several strings coming away from that. So there we go. Our strings drawn across all three. And then bring back in my card base here. And go ahead, and I think there's enough going on this one that I'm just going to lay this part flat on the back of the card. Okay, there we go. And I think that is a lovely card. Now, on this one, I did think in terms of using a little bit of bling, if you will. What I had in mind was using not the pearls that they provided, but are just regular basic pearls, and using some of the regular pearls in the centers of the flowers. I thought that finished this off a little bit. And I'm using the largest of the pearls here in the centers of these flowers. And I like the finishing touch there on these. And I'm going to get a little crazy with the pearls here because I do think it adds quite a bit. I'm going to take the next size pearl down and I'm going to place them on the corners of the card, on these little decorations on the corners. And there is my card number 2, with one small exception, and I want to put a little something on the inside. And I think to pull the inside and the outside of this card together, I'm just going to lay down this yellow flower with some of these leaves, since I have plenty of them since I made some. So I'm going to put this yellow flower down here in the corner using snail, and that'll be my decoration to the inside of this card. And I'm going to just lay them flat on the inside here, put some leaves here, lay the flower down, and then I'll probably have to pick that up just a bit to get my last set of leaves in there, but to put a few more leaves on this side. And there we have our finished card. So doing it this way, I will probably just do 2 cards at a time, but I will make several videos until we have at least 6 alternatives to this beautiful card kit. And it, like I said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with making this up the way they suggest. It's a beautiful set, and I know they sold out. I wish there were additions to this one or refills available for it, because I think this would be a fun one to just keep playing with. So there I have a happy birthday card with may good things grow all year long, and what a beautiful friendship we've grown with a flower and a couple of leaves inside. So those are the first of my 2 paper pumpkin alternatives. And let's see, the prize draw for this month is the Brusho Crystal Colors and a set of aqua painters. And if you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. And I'd love to have you on my team as well. We have meetings once a month, and I do private coaching calls with all of the members of my team and help them continue to work towards the goals that they've set to get everything they want out of their Stampin' Up! Membership. In any case, I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!